Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Play Combat Mission, Afrika Korps. So the last day at Bir Hakeim, I don't know whether you notice, I don't think you notice right now, but this is actually the recording that I did before I commented on it. Yeah, I basically did the recording of the last few turns, although kind of got elongated. But you know, I'm recording my voice commentary after seeing this, after I did this. And as you can see, it's going to be a lot shorter, and I hope that you find it watchable, more watchable. So here we have the Germans trying to converge on the right side, the rightmost trench that is kind of under a lot of pressure right now, with the whole gamut of Germans trying to pressure and then bring up the rear here as they wait, I guess, to put more pressure on the right side as the ammo is dwindling. And in the middle, I think we tried our best to support our guys on the right, but there can only so much ammo to go around here as well. And also the anti-tank rifle guys are, yeah, they're short on ammo, they're short on bullets to hit the panzers with, and it's not really effective. This gun is able to hit the tank, but it's still not within its line of sight, unfortunately. The same goes for the machine guns. It seems it's just too far. The Germans are too far away from it. And this is the foxholes in the second line of defense. Some of them are seeing the Germans for the first time. And we are focusing here on the left side, where the Germans are trying to split our trenches and then advance through the middle, supported by the tanks to capture the hill. And they're really close. I think they tried to capture the hill and was successful for some turns in the last episode. Penetration going on in the tanks, yeah, and then the tanks are now supporting the infantry right in the middle. But finally the mines take hold of the situation here, and the mines definitely come into effect. Yeah, I was wondering whether it's going to ever appear or be a difference maker. Last episode, it is going to be so if the Germans are trying to approach from this angle. And then they are trying to rush our position. Some of them are extreme left here. This is the weakest position on the left side, protecting the hill. And the tank, the Italian tank, is also helping. I think it's really rather wise to stay away from the minefield. And these guys are having a watch. Yeah, and here is the Italian tank shooting at our positions. Was not very successful there, but still it is able to sometimes shake our troops. And here is in the right side, where you can see this whole gamut of German soldiers here. I think it's a whole battalion that came to play just outside of the minefield here, as the Panzer is trying to overlook. They're going to do a better job now on button to see the whole battlefield, what is up. And these Panzers kind of scrunched up together for some reason. Of course, this is a bit larger representation, +2, so appears to be clipping, but it's not actually. And the German mortars are falling, and I think our artillery is falling on their position as well. And here the German mortar that was the culprit. Yeah, so the hill's not been taken yet, and one tank has been disabled, so we are stronger on this side. And I think the best chance for Germans are on our right side, trying to overwhelm these positions and overrun here, this place. But our artillery is falling, fortunately. And we have to hold out and try our best to defend the position, but there's really nothing behind them if they get overrun, so it's kind of a tight spot. Now here in the middle, we are trying to support our guys on the right. There is only so much we can do, although we can try to move back in order to protect the headquarters. Prime Minister and his band of machine guns. And here is the problem position. Low ammo, and some Germans are already within reach, so we can throw grenades. The Panzers also joining the foray. And here we are trying to see if we can target the Panzers. It's all rare, it's very not good. But we have to try now because we are there within reach of the trenches. And the machine gun is able to target some of these guys. Low exposure though, around 40%. Alright, so here is the map. And the next turn, the 28. Focusing on the right where the action is the heaviest. And as you can see, area target from the artillery is going to help a bit from the advancing Germans. And there are a lot more Germans to come from the rear as well, and you can see that our guys are now throwing multiple grenades to stop them and spending the last remaining bullets on hand. Yeah, we're doing a pretty good job though. We're pushing the Germans away, but there's so many of them though. This is on our left side, and unfortunately our HQ guy got eliminated from that German HQ. Yeah, and we are throwing grenades now, I think 30 meters out. And just beside it, no, this is on the right side. These guys are rushing in, they heading up. And I think this guy is not full strength, but fought back a little bit and got eliminated. And I think this is the artillery gun that was shooting at us, or the Italian tank that was aiming at our position. The hill has not been taken so far. And then the universal carriers are still waiting to break out. I'm just biding our time. And the German guns are definitely noticing these carriers and now shooting rather accurately in their position. So need to do something about that. The Germans are curiously in the minefield, and our artillery is tracking them as they where they are basically, and I think some of the artillery shot to land in the mines and detonate them. It does look like the artillery is landing in some profuse manner, but it really isn't. Sometimes it's just the mines probably detonating because of the force of the artillery activating them or something. I don't know how they actually work. So yeah, so we're just moving right on because I'm not really, changing things. I mean, they're all in the trenches and they're not going to move one step from it. It's just, following the mantra of the Soviets, not one step back. Like, they run if they're broken, but these guys are veterans that faced the Germans for, I don't know, like 2 weeks. So they're really hardened and they know what to expect. This is going to be hard, but I don't think, unless they're out in the open, they're not going to be broken that easily. On the left side, Germans are still advancing pretty hard to try to split us in the middle, between these two trenches and get to that flag. And the Italians are helping, and I think that was the German gun that was targeting us. And another tank is advancing now alongside the minefield, so they know a bit better what to expect, so they're trying to evade it. And this gun is obviously don't have anything to shoot with, but attracting a lot of German attention. Yeah, and then the gun is definitely now taking aim at the Panzer IV-E that has appeared in its line of sight. Yeah, so the Germans are advancing into the rock, so they have better cover to try to rush the position from. And the tanks are approaching on our right side too. The Panzer II has been hit with the anti-tank rifle. The gun hits, so I don't know whether they can actually use a gun anymore. And some penetration going on. They're undaunted though. It really didn't affect them all before, so it's not gonna affect them now. Yeah, still penetration going on, and a lot of artillery fire going to strike that position near the tank. So I don't know what the tank is going to do, but it's staying still for this turn. And as you can see, the carrier is moving out of position from the very dangerous German guns. I think some of them probably will activate their smoke as well. Turn 30, more the same. I think the artillery has changed its targeting a bit, so it has a better chance of striking the most amount of German soldiers. And we are targeting the platoon HQ over there, the most important unit that gives bonuses to the units around it. Possibly the tank as well. As you can see, the Germans have taken the hill. They have enough soldiers that they're now dominating this part. But we're still there to fight them off if they ever come closer. But they're putting a lot of pressure on our hill, so... But I'm not really that worried about it because I have multiple soldiers behind this position. The Italian tank is definitely trying to hit that HQ unit in the trench. And the gun is targeting that Panzer IV-E. This is the Panzer II-C, and apparently it was broken down, or the penetration was enough that it abandoned. It's a good thing, definitely. It's not going to support their soldiers anymore. And there are a lot of them still, and they're trying to shoot them, but yeah, you can't really stop them from advancing. And now this other tank. On the left side, yeah, as you can see, the tank is trying to go along with the minefield. And then the gun is on top of things and it penetrated the turret and it stopped the Panzer in its tracks. Yeah, another turret penetration, so he's able to now hit really well. Now definitely in the sight. These two tanks were here trying to support the infantry, but one of them has apparently stepped onto a mine, and the tank that was following it is backing off. And now the artillery is landing. But then the broken down tank here is apparently still able to use his turret. And this guy is closing in on our right side. But as you can see, the French have fixed their bayonets or something, and they can definitely let out some high-powered attacks, so it eliminated the German who was trying to sneak into the trench. And yeah, the gun finally knocked it out. So a victory for us in this turn. Look at the machine guns trying to position itself to shoot at our defenders. And some of the Germans are heading for the crater away from the artillery fire. And some of these mines, I don't think they are anti-personnel mines. They're more anti-tank mines. So the infantry is able to slip through very easily. But we were able to knock out like 3 tanks, or confirm the, the disabling of 3 tanks, so it was a really good turn. And the next turn, we now attempt to break out, following the news of these tanks being abandoned and knocked out. We are more likely to use our carriers to really put a stamp, or really put a damper on the German advance, at least in the right side. So we are bringing some carriers to the right once again. The first time I did it, they were all knocked out pretty promptly. And this tank is still alive though, but finally abandoned. As you can see, they're heading up. I think because of the smoke that was starting out in the engine compartment. The other tank is now trying to move away from, but they're still in the minefield, so they need to be very careful. And it's showing its back for the gun that we have right here. Yeah, the carriers can really drive fast. They're really fast vehicles and really it's a stark difference from the lumbering tanks. In this gun position on the left side is still attracting a lot of German attention to the benefit of our guys in the trench, who's kind of using the divided attention from the Germans to hold on to their positions as much as possible. The right side once again, that remaining Panzer, the only tank that is remaining on the right side for the Germans. Track is hit, but it's still moving, so it was not really that much damage. And finally, the final tank on the right side bites the dust due to the mines. The minefield definitely worked its magic. Definitely did its work, and the last throws trying to shoot at our positions here. 4-0. Anti-tank rifle still trying to shoot at the side, but not really that effective. Yeah, I mean, it's penetrating still, so it's going to add up. Finally, the soldier there has been shaken due to the German Panzer, very annoyed German Panzer on his last legs, trying to shoot at the trenches. And yeah, the carriers are doing something weird. I think he was found out by some of the tanks or the guns, and then trying to do a evasive maneuver. Alright, so we are moving we are moving fast. Turn 32. So more the same in the trenches, trying to keep the Germans at bay. Now with the additional panzers now knocked out, it's definitely easier. I think the Italian tank is operational. Yeah, once again this hill has been contested, so yeah, it's going to change hands. Never completely in French hands, but it's going to change hands more times, I think, before everything's said and done. The Italian tank's now buttoned. You can see the tank commander popped up to see what is all the hubbub. And then he wisely backs off. I think he knows what's up, that our anti-tank carriers are trying to put themselves in position to ambush it by using its superior mobility. And this guy is running. Obviously it's being targeted by the German guns in the rear. Able to see it from a mile away. Yeah, still able to shoot at the trenches, although tank is basically disabled, but it's not on fire, so it's still able to shoot. And this carrier now has to move. It's a machine gun carrier, being targeted by the German gun. Kind of surprising the German gun is not out of shells yet. I guess it had like a lot of ammo in its reserves. Overall, I think the Germans were well equipped to fire at the majority of the turns that are armored targets. This guy is basically shooting, I think, at the soldiers now, at any target that he can identify. I think this is on our extreme right side, trying to sneak around, trying to outflank us, but we are on top of things here. Yeah, throwing grenades and the like. This guy's in trouble. And the machine guns are still trying to crawl. I think they're pretty tired now, along with the mortars. Still are able to shoot at our positions in the trench, but I don't think they haven't been effective. Yeah, the tank is still alive. Yeah, so it's not on fire, but it's still there. So anti-tank rifle has nothing better to do but to shoot at the tank, to try to truly knock it out. Turn 33. Yeah, so the carriers are being targeted by the guns. They finally have the targets. And this Panzer 3J has not been knocked out yet. But I'm really fortunate that the minefield took most of them in this battle. Or else I would have been overrun, at least on the right side. And who knows what would have happened. Some of the German units have crossed the minefield and is now trying to engage us more closely with the machine guns. Seems now in position. And you can see the German troops, some of them have been captured, surrendered. This guy's still running. As you can see from the yellow line, it's being targeted by the German gun from across the map. And this is advanced guy. I think this guy was the anti-tank carrier. The machine gun carrier stops and then is able to shoot at the platoon HQ that has infiltrated past our machine gun, our minefield. Yeah, a lot of penetration still from the anti-tank rifle, but you know, it's not able to knock the Panzer out completely. Still fighting. They're close quarters battle now on the right side. And this guy is stopped. I don't know. I think I gave it an order to seek hold on position, but I guess it didn't really find anything. And I don't know whether that is our plane or their plane, but it's heading toward some position. I don't know where. I guess it's ours because there's really no unit there for the planes to target. Alright, so the turn 34 out of 35. So these carriers really, I'm kind of saving. They're reserve, I guess, but most of them do not have any weapons, so they're kind of useless. unless you want to carry somebody. And nobody wants to move an inch from the trenches, from their positions. The right side, the Germans are definitely gathering and putting even more pressure against this trench. Yeah, definitely. And I don't think our guys are able to fire much. They're just able to evade the Germans as much as possible, and if they come close, do some close quarters battle. Yeah, so this guy laid down a smoke, but stopped for some reason once again. I think they're looking for a hold on position or something. And this guy, yeah, once again, I think that was the final grenade for this guy's thrown, and it was enough to make them surrender. So they surrendered rather closely. And this guy is still running, and I think these guys are not identified, so I don't know whether they're full strength or under strength. Yeah, they're all running to the positions, trying to rush us or something. Yeah, so these anti-tank guys, well, I mean, if you stand around, you're gonna get hit, and obviously you're gonna get knocked out. Yeah, just finished it off. The German gun has been rather accurate against their carriers. The Italian tank has its side penetrated, but it doesn't really affect them. Oh, okay, so that's apparently our Hurricane bomber or dive bomber strafed the Italian tank and was able to penetrate its top. Wonder it was actually broken down or anything like that. And this guy is, I think, another anti-tank carrier trying to ambush the Italian tank. And the gun is firing at something, and the tank is being hit from all sides by the rifles now, trying to target it from everywhere. Yeah, and our anti-tank rifle carrier is able to target the Italian tank. And the gun is targeting some weird vehicle. So I have one machine gun carrier on the right side targeting the platoon HQ, and every anti-tank rifle is targeting this tank, the last remaining tank on the German side. M40 75mm. Okay, so kind of reminds me of, I think I mentioned this, kind of reminds me of Stug 3. That it has to turn its whole tank around in order to target, because it doesn't have a turret. Low profile though, so I guess kind of help in evading and its top getting penetrated. The track was hit, and yeah, still this poor gunner is being targeted by the Germans, trying to take the kill. And our trench right behind the front line trench is able to give a proper cover for our advanced guys, advanced defenders. Yep. Alright, so one of our plane has finally knocked out this tank. So on the right side at least, the German Panzer has been wiped out. And this guy is trying to thread the needle once again, throwing his compatriots into HQ unit. Yeah, the German guns are still active, but our gun is still, I don't know what target is actually shooting at. I think it was some kind of weird vehicle, maybe a truck. Yeah, it was a truck. Kind of weird, like why he wants to destroy it. Could have, picked a better target. Maybe he was trying to spend all the armor-piercing shells, although you don't really need armor-piercing shells to destroy a truck. Yeah, had a lot of other targets like soldiers trying to take over the hill. Hill 186. And as you can see, Germans are now taking positions all around on our right side, putting a lot of pressure on the guys. Not a lot of ammo left. And the Italian tank, I think, is shooting at the carrier now. And we are, doing a nice exchange of grenades. It's close enough. They're still advancing. Yeah, and then the right side, as you can see, things are really heating up. not really letting up. I think this is turn 36, so I mean, yeah, they gave extra turn for the Germans to do something about this situation. Maybe they can take over this area, then maybe get enough points to snatch the victory from the Free French, perhaps. I don't exactly know what the casualty figures are, but definitely inflicted more casualties than the Germans, it seems. But the Germans are given more chance to at least, maximize their, I think what seems to be a pretty good chance for them to take over this area. So many different soldiers, different units now converging on this area that now these guys, defenders, they cannot really even poke their head out. They're all pinned. Still holding though, they're not breaking at all. They're able to hold their positions. Yeah, so most of the German infantry had made their way to the right side, our right side, not taking our positions there. Here as well, they've taken over the hill once again, as you can see by the flag. And now, once again attacking our gun position there. I don't know, it's really not helpful. Yeah, they're trying to attack our guns, I don't know why, but I mean, still staying pretty strong, not surrendering anything. And as you can see here, the turn 37, they get 2 extra turns here to try to make something out of this. But yeah, they're kind of being turned back, thankfully. Machine guns and everything are pouring their ammo here. They still have a lot left in their, I guess. But we're throwing grenades now, the last remaining grenades, to counter the Germans. Here as well on the left side, I mean, the hill may have been taken, but you're kind of stopping them from making the most out of it, or widening the strength of position that they have set up here in the rock patches. Yeah, they're really close now. They're really close. And they throw a grenade at us, and we are throwing a grenade back at them. Yeah, like this. The tit for tat exchange. Yeah, it's gonna get shot at. Yeah, and now kind of having a hard time here trying to even go into the trench. And for some reason, Germans have activated their artillery turn 37. I think they still have a lot more in the tank if they started to pound our positions, but it's too late. So after I send a report for the last day at Bir Hakeim, we have won a major victory. The amount of casualties 67 to 263. So we have suffered around 4 times less casualties. Man killed in action is more on our side, more in favor on our side, 17 to 73. So yeah, definitely a victory for us. But the Axis held the flag on the hill, it seems, so they get 300 points to our 1200. Alright, so back on the battlefield, checking out some of the units that were involved in this battle. And I'm sorry, I think the top of the screen has been cut off due to some mishap. Getting the misconfiguring the screen to record it. So the top, I think, has been cut off, unfortunately. So you can't really see the score for some of these units, but you can see they have destroyed some of the weapons on our side. Such as this guy, I think it has caused some kills as well. Checking out the guns on the Germans' left side, which is our right side. And they have targeted the carriers, I think, some of them. And successful. This is a mortar unit that stayed back, but it was able to still target us in our trenches. And surprisingly, the Germans didn't use the whole glut of units here. Elite unit, Elite unit 2, the crack troops, they didn't deploy them for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, maybe if I set the battle to be a bit harder, I don't know what I should be setting, but if I set the battle to be a lot harder, then they would be joining the battle perhaps with the trucks. But unfortunately, they didn't join. Maybe it's a bug. There was a very experienced troop that could cause a lot of trouble for our guys here defending. And checking out the broken down tanks and our defenders, some of them, I mean, one of them wore on its last legs, but was able to hold on. And the capture unit, yeah, they're pretty, yeah, well-equipped units. They still have a lot of grenades to throw and more or less regular troops. Some of them veterans. Checking out the broken carriers and the guns that did so much for our side in the beginning turns. They destroyed a lot of different things. PSWs, and the one tank has been destroyed. And 2 Panzers, and also targeted in the air too against the Stukas and maybe Junkers trying to bomb our positions. And this guy, the Italian tank, survived until the end of the battle. He was part of the reinforcement. Yeah, and this guy, the gun was able to, you know, draw a lot of fire from the Germans, sparing the troops defending the trenches. I think that was one of my better positions and deployments for the gun, because he was still held on to its ground and was able to withstand a lot of grenade attacks from the Germans. So I guess it kind of worked out in the end, but obviously it was kind of risky because I set it up so in the front lines and was targeted probably the first thing in the battle. Yeah, so that has been the last day of Bir Hakeim. Thank you for watching. That was pretty fun. And the next time, I don't know whether I should be returning to desert. Maybe I go to Italy this time. Please stay tuned.